everybody, and welcome to the newest indoor adventure in the Four Keeps Departure, Part 10. Today is May 17th, 2021, and you are loved. And that is a very important thing that we like to remind each and every single one of our viewers and listeners at the beginning of each and every single one of these games. If this is your first time joining us, you can go to youtube.com/indooradventures to check up on all of the VODs of each of the games that we have played up until this point, including full playthroughs of Curse of Strahd, Ghost of Saltmarsh, Waterdeep Dragon Heist, Tyrant Security, Tomb of Annihilation, and many, many more to come. You can also find us anywhere audiocasts are made available for free under the same moniker. And speaking of things that are being made available for free, if you go to patreon.com/indooradventures, you can check up on our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself or any of these other fine folk, you can feel free to join us on Discord or post them in the Twitch chat to the side, where there's also been a Discord link that has just dropped. And you can go and ask those questions, and we will do our best to respond to them in kind. You can also join our Discord by clicking on the link in the description, or, the description of this video or audio cast down below. But if you already support us on Patreon, you already support us on YouTube and Twitch and all of those other places, and you're trying to think to yourself, where can I go to help support this wonderful casting crew even more? Guess what, buddy? I got your back. Quite literally, in fact, because if you go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, we got t-shirts, we got posters, we got mugs, we got crop tops, throw pillows, shower curtains, clocks, aprons, and most importantly, we also have TM masks. That's right, we have face masks with the symbol of TMAT upon them, done up by our very own Cyberwolf 1201, where all the proceeds of those masks end up going to help support Doctors Without Borders. So if you would like to help support a good cause or possibly help support the show, you can again go to indooradventure.redbubble.com. That is indooradventure, no S at the end, .redbubble.com. But that is it for my opening spiel. So, hey, RJ, who you playing today? I was about to do the exit one. Nope, not
You
this
can
time.
find me right here playing Caelum, the Shadowkai Wizard. Both of us use he, him.
I'm LBHackEmUp, and I'm going to be playing Gwen, the Halfling Barbarian Fighter. Both use she, her.
Hoi, I'm Cyber. I play Arjhan, the Draconian Ranger Cleric. That's what his character sheet says, so I guess that's still accurate. I use he pronouns, or really any. I don't really care. And Arjhan uses he, him exclusively.
Hey everybody, I'm Wings, also known as Danae Keener. I'm playing as Cori under the Elegant Paladin, and they use whatever pronouns are relevant at the moment. And I use she, her.
And I am the Indoor Adventurer, and tonight I shall be your Dungeon Master. So, it's been a couple weeks since we last played, so the recap, as always, is going to be a pretty important one. Last we left off, you guys had just gotten done defending the Dragon Forge from Kodeth and his quite rather annoying forces, being the remaining members of the Keshan Trade Company, who still had a grudge against you over, preventing them from taking over the Isle of Arathsk and being downright dicks about most everything that they've ever done. So, from the spoils, did you get a chain that allowed you to summon an Afridi, as well as some other gifts and goodies? You decided that you were going to then travel around using the Manor of Moonstier to visit Philip, see about possibly getting him to hang out at the Goliath encampment, which, in hindsight, there wasn't really a lot for him to do there, so he just thought that he was going to stay and continue working the job that he had been doing previously for Tyrant Security, helping the branch in Silt Creek get up and running. And you guys then went to the Goliath encampment, where you left Cybra in good hands and decided that you were going to begin heading towards Vascor. On the second day of your journey, Arjhan remembered that, well, you had a bunch of magic items that Caelum needed to actually identify and look at, and so upon doing so, you realized that you had a cube that could summon forth an instant fortress, a set of elven boots that were quite good for sneaking, and of course, you had this Afridi chain. Not really liking the idea of forcing a creature into servitude using said chain, you decided to summon that Afridi forth and then just give him the chain back, to which he considered this a debt that they did not want to eventually repay, and instead, speaking directly to Cori, as Cori is the only one who currently spoke Ignon, said that they were going to offer you a singular wish. So that is where we had left off last time. So let's pick up where we left off. Cori, you have just been told by this Afridi that they ask, what is it that you wish for? And the moment realizes to you, oh shit, I think you think you know what this djinn is offering.
Cori kind of like stumbles and says in common, hold on a second. And she's going to she would already have to be in summer form in order to understand Ignan, right?
That is correct.
Okay, so she's already in summer form. She's going to use her ability to share her season with the 3 present, and allow everybody the ability to understand Ignan. And she's going to say that again, please. This time in Ignan.
And the Afridi, realizing that you asking him to repeat himself is not the wish, repeats, the chain that you have given me is my freedom. That much I owe you, and I do not wish to be in any of your debt. So I will say this once. What is it that you wish for? Confirm it with me, and I can make this happen for you. It's my way of thanks.
Oh,
Team
boy.
huddle?
Team huddle.
Team.
You may take your
Do we need the
time.
conference room?
Don't think so.
Right.
All right.
Like, what are they?
They have the ability to grant us one wish that our heart desires.
My heart desires.
Putting it simply, yes.
What does Arjhan know about this sort of magic?
Make an Arcana check.
22.
22. So Arjhan would know that a wish spell is incredibly powerful. We are talking about the highest casting level that a spell possibly could be. With the, I want to say caveat that it can possibly even do more than that, but there is a chance that things might not turn out as well as you had initially intended, with that being the case. For something like this, you would know that up to a certain level, a wish is infallible. It will work as intended. But once it reaches that threshold, that's when things can get a little wonky. But as far as its scope, as far as its power, this is potentially the most, potent magical casting that there will be on the plane.
This is incredibly powerful stuff.
We have to be very careful here. We all understand that, right?
Right.
Wait, do we have to tell them what it is, or are they just gonna look into our soul and know?
We tell them what it
We have-
is.
We have to tell them. We have to.
Shit.
Phrase it correctly.
Yeah.
Do we each
Sidebar.
get one, or?
It's just one,
Oh, okay.
based
Oh,
off of what he
okay.
said.
Huh. I don't even know what my heart desires. Probably blood.
Let's not.
No.
Quick aside, I think I might be able to copy it.
Cool.
Potentially getting
Okay.
us 2 wishes.
Okay.
If you can copy it, wouldn't you have unlimited wishes?
It's only for a short amount of time.
Wait, can we
Afterwards.
wish for unlimited
Good,
wishes?
because that sounds
No, I don't think we can wish for more wishes. Well, if
That that definitely sounds outside of the scope of
What if we wish for
what
one
a wish
more
should
wish?
be able to do.
we
And
could,
then we
But-
just have the one.
Why would
I'm
we do
sorry.
that?
I don't know. I have nothing to add to this conversation. This is all I have.
knights in the courtyard breaking the wish spell.
This is an opportunity to right some wrongs. Our biggest regrets, our biggest mistakes could be reversed.
Again, we would need to be very careful with that.
Okay.
Wish for something too big, and you could have that sort of reality bending power that has unintended effects.
Of course.
Right. So can we
So-
like bring someone back from the dead? Or like kill someone?
I think yes on
Potentially.
both counts.
Yeah.
Depending
Can
on
we
how
just kill
powerful
the
they
big-
are.
The big dude in the sky? The worm
No,
dude?
That's
I
not a
doubt it.
someone. That's another thing, is that we're tied up in a prophecy with him.
Yeah.
If we start playing games with prophecies, that could potentially go very poorly.
Okay.
We could
So like
revive Farron.
that makes sense.
I would be okay with that.
Is there any way that could possibly go wrong?
Wrong
Uh,
soul in the wrong body. I
or
know
right
Seb was
soul.
in there.
Or right soul in an incomplete body.
All right, we'll be very specific with the way that we word things.
On this, if I am able to get the second wish, I was thinking about bringing Corvain's body here from the negative energy plane. Means we don't actually have to go there to find out more about the Raven Queen. He'd have his notes on him.
Well, that is a tricky egg to crack. It'd be good to get it out of the way. Do we have any worthier cause than this?
Not unless it can make us like invincible. No offense, Caleb. I mean, if we got two, I'm gonna say number one, that one. Number two, invincible.
I wouldn't quite say invincible, but
Essentially, we would be wishing for godlike power, which is fraught with potential to go awry.
Oh.
invincible.
How about like we just don't get hurt as much? Like when I get really angry.
That's in the scope of wish, right?
It's literally in the dialogue.
Well, to one specific type of damage.
And I believe it would just be for one creature, right?
Yes.
Up
Yes.
to 10, I think.
Oh,
If I'm remembering correctly, and
I'll look it up.
I have been incorrect many times before.
yeah. Mayhaps the DM should pull up the wish spell.
All right. So, Wish is the mightiest spell a mortal can cast. By simply speaking aloud, you can alter the very foundations of reality in accord with your desires. The basic use of this spell is to duplicate any other spell 8th level or lower. You don't need to meet any requirements in that spell, including costly components. The spell simply takes effect. Alternately, you can create one of the following effects of your choice. You can create one object up to 25,000 GP in value that isn't a magic item. The object can be no more than 300 feet in any dimension, and it appears in an unoccupied space you can see on the ground. You allow up to 20 creatures that you can see to regain all hit points, and you end all effects on them described in the Greater Restoration spell. You grant up to 10 creatures that you can see resistance to damage, a damage type of your choice, so up to 10. You grant up to 10 creatures you can see immunity to a single spell or other magical effect for 8 hours. For instance, you could make yourself and all of your companions immune to a Lich's Life Drain attack. You undo a single recent event by forcing a reroll of any roll made within the last round, including your last turn. Reality reshapes itself to accommodate the new result. For example, a wish spell could undo an opponent's successful save, a foe's critical hit, or a friend's failed save. You can force the reroll to be made with advantage or disadvantage, and you can choose whether to use the reroll or the original roll. And
Forgive
then
me for the
there's more,
interruption,
but that is
But
about doing extra things.
this seems to imply that you could negate a use of legendary resistance.
Yeah, that seems like a good use for a 9th level spell.
Okay, fair enough.
Or just power word stun it. They can't legendary resistance it.
These are our limitations. I think that we can all agree that Farron never should have died.
Yeah, totes. Okay, let's wish for that. And if Caelum can duplicate it, then
Do we wish for Farron to be restored complete and here with us?
Yes. I don't want him waking up inside the keep all by himself, really confused about what's going on.
You guys buried his body. He would wake up like underground.
Oh, yeah.
Just ring the bell.
Help!
I know there's higher levels of restorative magic that we would need to tap in if we were to not be wishing for it.
Eventually, I might be able to learn the wish spell and use it freely, but for the time being...
God, I just had heart palpitations there for a second.
What?
No,
In
no,
character or
it's-
out of character?
In character, sorry. What, Caelum going, you know what? I can just cast Wish at any moment.
Yeah, the idea of that scares you? It frightens me as well.
That sort of restorative magic that might be going on the higher level of what this magic sort of is meant for or can do safely. Are there any risks that you can think of wishing him restored complete and here with us?
The trauma? Mentally
Hey.
getting swapped out of the body that you were originally in and then having...
If we can deal with anything, we can deal with trauma. And helping other people through. Well, if there's anything I can do in this group, is help people through trauma, okay?
All right.
One condition. Well, we add a condition. And that ultimately it's Farron's choice. None of it occurs if he doesn't want to be restored.
All
Wait,
right.
isn't there a spell to bring people back to life, and they have to be doing it? They have to do it willingly.
Most
Most
restorative
re-
magic stuff like that.
Yeah, can't we just say to use that spell, and then it covers all the bases?
We need his body.
No, you don't.
Unless we ask for. Does Arjhan know true resurrection is a thing?
I would say that you have definitely heard about magics like it before. as far as like, oh yeah, I know Ted who does this thing over here. He casts that spell like every week. Like, no, I don't think that you would be like that familiar with it, but you would have at least heard of a spell like it.
There are resurrection magics that don't require a body. It can revive someone who's been gone for a very, very long time. It's very costly to use and is edging on the possibilities of magic. So I'm not sure if this sort of wish can replicate it safely, but we could ask for that.
Out of character, is that
What is the safest replication? Sorry, yeah, out of
out
character.
of
Go
character?
ahead.
Is that spell within the limit?
True Resurrection is a 9th level spell that is outside that is outside wish.
Okay, sorry.
You also have to touch a creature for true resurrection.
You don't need a body.
Yeah, true res, you don't.
It says you touch a creature that has been dead for no longer than 200 years.
You don't need the whole body. You just need some part of it.
Wow.
Well, then it would definitely be out of the scope of the standard wish, so it's still possible.
Fair.
Samoa Osiris ass motherfuckers. What is the safest way that we can replicate this?
Reincarnation.
Wish for him to be reincarnated here in this spot.
As himself.
That is druidic magic. It's very reliable.
Caelum squints at Cori.
What?
Resurrection.
Would fall under the scope, yeah. LB.
It's Gwen. Hi.
Gwen.
Just to, is this necromancy?
Yes.
Okay.
Your specialty.
Well,
It
That brings
absolutely
people
is
back from it.
necromancy.
Necromancer.
and we're all cool with this.
There's more to necromancy than just controlling the dead.
I know that. I've just been told that it's bad a lot, so I'm just making sure that we're all chill with it now that it's okay for us.
I mean, if we're discussing it.
I'm of the opinion that things that have died, typically, bringing them back is messing with things that should not be messed with. I know that's hypocritical, being someone who has been brought back. But Farron should not have died. If he can be restored. And we're not forcing his soul or any other souls into doing things that they do not want to do. I can make peace with that.
Okay. For the second wish, if
Do
it
it.
does
Oh.
happen,
What would you want to try and do, assuming that everything goes correctly?
honestly, I want to get Corvain's body here. Maybe he has some notes on what he was doing with the Raven Queen, and that saves us a trip into a plane of negative energy. Which almost
Alright.
killed me the last time just by standing inside of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I would be okay with that.
Yeah, I'm
we
on board
should-
for both of these.
I'm a fan of not dying, especially in the plane of negative energy, as someone who particularly does not like undeath.
I'm gonna need a little help, Arjhan. This spell might be a bit beyond my scope.
Okay, wait, you're not gonna like break the world, right? Or age like to 14.
No, I wouldn't age to 14.
Okay, backing up. You're not gonna break the world, right?
No, this would replicate a gate spell. At the very least, it's within the scope.
Isn't that also very powerful?
7th level?
Gate is a 9th level spell.
Fuck.
Fucking indoor.
This is assuming that you're successful.
Yeah.
I will ask my goddess to guide you as you do this.
Yeah, I'll put in a good word with Tempest too.
I think double guidance
It's all
stacks.
well and good, but can you give him a blessing as well?
Can-
I mean, not like magically. I can bless him. It doesn't do anything.
Just gonna
but I
put
can
one up
do
to the
it.
real ones, the Tempest. Just like, hey, guide him.
Cori,
Just
do
for
you
good
have
luck.
Do you have
How
a
long
plus
do we
saved
have
up?
to? I did not prepare that today,
Okay.
unfortunately.
Okay.
Turns back to the not. It's not a djinn. What is it?
He's an Afridi.
Afridi.
And at this point, like, you guys, like, took a little bit of an aside. When you turn back, there is a campfire that is sitting there. Some logs have been placed that were not there before.
Aw.
And he's just sort of, like, sitting.
Gwen just gives a like up just one more second. Hand
He,
gesture.
like, gives you a hand wave, like, it's okay. I understand.
He's probably used to this.
Not really. He doesn't hand out wishes very often at all. But still, he's like, he understands the implication. And you guys were like, we need some time to figure this out. He doesn't want to just keep standing. Sit.
He's
Alright.
built a wicker chair while we were talking.
Set it on fire, then built a new one.
So we know.
Yeah.
Well, before we get started, since I assume that things will happen very, very quickly, how are we phrasing our first? How are we phrasing our wish for the Afriti?
What is Farron's full name?
You never gave him a full name. It was just Farron.
Yep. Mugwort
like
and
Cher.
Prescott. Yeah,
Okay.
they never called him by one. He was always just Farron.
It's all right. I know a few Elvish titles that will suffice.
We wish for
We wish for Farron, the friend of Caelum, to be resurrected, complete and whole in mind and body, and deliver it to us here and now.
That was great, Cori. Did you just think of that, or did you write it down?
I took a class in university.
And the Afridi stands.
Whoa, 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 whoa.
And
Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. We're just speaking amongst ourselves
okay.
at the moment.
The contract is signed.
Boy, I wish that we had more time. Damn it!
Really wish for a sandwich.
Caelum,
Yes.
assuming that everything goes correctly, how are you going to be phrasing your intentions?
He holds up a finger to the Afridi to motion 1 second. I wish for the body of Corvain Nightfeather with all of his belongings to be transferred here to the material plane in front of me.
That's pretty
Now.
good.
Now,
And remain.
and remain.
And live!
And the soul gets sucked out of Caelum and re-put into Corvain. Now we have a whole new can of worms.
This is another Sergei Speedy kind of moment.
Oh boy.
Motherfucker.
Corvain, we need the Palantir, Corvain.
Can we commit to both of these?
Yes.
I see no
Yes.
reason not to.
Are we ready?
Yeah, why not?
Do it to it.
My goddess, who has many heads, please help this boy not break the world. And I cast guidance. You have a
Hey, yo,
D4 that you
Tempest.
can add.
I know we don't talk that much. You're the best god there is. We all know this. Can you make sure that Caelum doesn't break the world for me? Just this, I don't ask for a lot. Seems like a big one, so thanks.
Make a religion check.
Oh my god. Oh my god, it's happening. I have a -1.
Tempest
Four.
just fucks
Tiamat
him
shows
over
up to smite
spite.
Arjhan.
The 4.
So you hear a 4? Or you get a 4?
Uh-huh.
I don't know, Gwen. Sky looks pretty cloudy. Tempest is among us. Clearly.
Among us.
She just like does the thing, like opens her eyes, looks up, and it's just like points up, like, yeah.
Clearly, my prayer worked.
Obvious.
Do you see how cloudy it is outside?
Even though it was the whole time.
Yeah. So, yeah, the Ifriti, as you all finally turn around, the Ifriti stands and then, like, sort of crosses their arms in front of their chest and asks, have you decided upon your wish?
We have.
And he motions for you to speak.
Cori takes a deep breath and well, I guess she's already communicating with him in Ignan. She says, "We wish for Farron, the friend of Caelum, to be resurrected complete and whole in mind and body and delivered to us here and now."
And the Afridi says, and looks at the rest of you. Is this correct?
Yes.
Caelum nods.
Then the Afridi nods as well. And you see them steeple their fingers, and they begin to utter a sort of speech that sounds like there are like 8 or 9 different Afridis chanting all at once that seem to just be coming from his voice. And as he does, he begins to move his hands in very specific arcane motions. But as they reach specific sets, they seem to linger in an almost heat after image as the bonfire begins to grow brighter and brighter until the flames themselves are roughly around 7 feet tall. As the wood that lays at the bottom of the bonfire begins to lick up from these flames, they begin to sort of get carried by the smoke, but then they stop at around the 6-foot mark in the flames themselves. And from the ashes of this wood, you see what looks like a skeleton forming. And then as this skeleton forms, black from the charred wood, those flames begin to wreath around the skeleton, creating a layer of muscle, of nerves, of skin, and eventually clothes, as you see this humanoid form getting created from the inside of these flames. And as this figure, while inside of the fire, is there, you see they have their arms sort of just like hanging off to the side, and you all watch as Farron is reconstructed before you. And as the Afridi makes the last of these arcane motions and their voice stops, they, for a moment, pause and say in Ignan, "Speak." And you see Farron's mouth open as a bright almost like bright orange reddish light seems to pour out of Farron's mouth and his eyes as a yell occurs. And as it does, even though he is exhaling in this yell, the flames that he is wrapped in begin to wreath up his sides and enter into his mouth. And even though he is exhaling, he is swallowing this fire that has allowed him to resuscitate. And as the flames die out, in almost as quick as a moment as they arrive, Farron stops and is standing on his 2 feet, slightly bent over, just a wicked steam seeming to rise from his body. Again, kind of like smoke and steam billowing out from his mouth. And then as that stops, he kind of blinks and looks over towards your group. And you see him mouth and hear ever so faintly, "Fork." And he collapses.
I would like to use a reaction to copy the wish spell.
Okay, make
I would like to use a reaction to catch him.
You can definitely catch Farron. He is hot to the touch, but you are in summer form, so that is okay. Caelum, make that Arcana check for me, or that spellcasting ability modifier.
Ability?
Yes.
Please. It's in the realm. Ah! 22.
Hot,
Tiamat said,
diggity
"Go
dang."
ahead."
Tiamat said you could have this one as a treat.
So,
Tiamat said, "I'll be good."
for you, anything. So at that, the Ifrit, seeing that their job is done, looks to the rest of you and says, again, "You have my thanks for my freedom. May your friend know your sacrifice." And with that, they turn around and just begin to walk. And as they walk, you just see their body sort of like turn into smoke as they walk with each individual step. For just a brief minute, there is a glaringly bright portal that seems to appear. And from the inside, like peering through it, I would say, Arjhan, you have the highest passive perception, so you're the only one who can really peer through. You see a city that looks like it is made of precious metals. And then as they pass through, the portal closes. And there is
Man,
just...
they were rich as fuck.
When he says, "May he know your sacrifice," Cori nods to him and says an elven phrase, but in Ignan, which is "no debts, no favors."
I think that as you say this, like the Afridi turns around as they're standing at the portal, and you see a smirk on their face play as they say it back to you, and then continue through.
You know, one day we're going.
She's gonna make sure Farron's okay.
Arjhan will just like say to himself, you know, one day we're gonna get a legendary magic item and actually keep it for more than a day.
What?
Everyone watches as Caelum takes off his mask. He opens his eyes, and they are these two pinpricks of blue inside of his head. He lets out a low exhale and says, "I wish. I wish for the body of Corvain Nightfeather with all of his belongings to be transferred here to the material plane in front of me now."
Cool, cool, cool. So, in
Oh
order
shit,
to
we should
cast...
have wished for his soul back. Damn it!
Now, in order to
Fuck, this thing's-
cast a 9th level spell, you have to overcharge.
Overcharge.
Correct.
Yep.
Roll me a D100.
Oh, yeah. There's that. $20.
Okay. Caelum, as per the spell, this was under the 33% chance.
Mm-hmm.
This is the one time Caelum will ever get to cast the wish spell. Now,
There's also some fun stuff that happens afterwards.
yes, as the stress of casting this spell is going to be quite enjoyable indeed. For one
I
of
like
us.
the way you say that.
Now, so Caelum, describe yourself casting this spell.
It's a lot more than he can handle at this level of his training. But his coat billows around him as his arms are engulfed in this inky black, and he reaches into the world in front of him and they disappear. He feels around for a moment and then slowly starts pulling out the body of Corvain. There is the crackle of dark energy around him, and it basically strikes him all over the body, but he manages to lay Corvain down, and as he stands, he looks exhausted. He looks older.
That's not all. So, you had to cast the gate spell in order to get this. So, Caelum, as you reach in and you begin to pull Corvain's body out, it is not a, add a, drop shadow to the image that I am currently on in Photoshop. This is a portcullis of darkness that just seems to emerge in front of you. And as you are pulling Corvain, when it is your hands reaching the edge of where this darkness is, this portcullis you see has doors, and these doors begin to open. And as these doors open, the three of you standing by can see that on the inside, it looks like a million unfinished paintings that are all in the process of being created, becoming half finished, swashing over with white, and starting over. There are creatures that are moving that look like they are comprised of an infinite number of brush strokes that should not have been made. But from there, you see, as Caelum is drawing forth this individual, they are wearing a grayish cloak that is covered in these nice silver runes. And as Caelum pulls them forth, you see from one of the shadows of these paintings that should never be, it turns. And it looks towards the outside of where Caelum is pulling, and it tilts its head in a curious fashion. Caelum, as you are pulling Corvain, your balance begins to teeter, and you feel a pain shoot down your leg from your hip to your toes as you begin to feel your body sort of tilting off to the side as you begin to continue pulling out Corvain. It's difficult to find your footing, but that shooting pain is one giving you the ability to continue focusing. And it would be so much easier to focus if, as you pulled Corvain out, you didn't hear another voice. A female voice that sounds so incredibly far off and distant cry out like she has experienced a broken bone of sorts. You know this voice. You've spoken to the speaker of said voice. Mystra has been injured this day. You manage to pull out Corvain and you fall down with him, and as you go to stand up, there is that incredible pain that is in your leg, and you realize that, speaking from a muscle standpoint, from the inertia standpoint of it, something is inherently wrong. I would like for you to change your movement speed to 25 feet. Now, please roll me 6d10.
Indoor, what the fuck?
We did this
Gonna
to
fight us.
ourselves. There is no one to blame but us here, okay?
It's okay. It's necrotic
That can't be reduced.
This is not
damage, right?
This is actually not necrotic damage.
33 to Caelum.
You age 33 years.
Oh no. In addition to
All
the
of this,
D20?
yes.
Oh. Oh boy. Hey guys, big 300! Yay!
How old were you when we started this game?
23.
Checks. This tracks.
Caelum is now 321. Hey, 321.
Nice. And as Caelum, you collapse with this very light corpse wearing immaculate robes. The doors of the portcullis shut, and the entire structure just seems to sink into the shadows that you had pulled it from. The air is still.
The fuck was that?
That was the plane of negative energy.
That was what we avoided going into.
Good. Did who was screaming?
It was Mistra.
Why?
I think whatever I did might have broken the weave a little bit.
Oh, so remember when I asked about breaking the world? This is part of that.
I didn't know, Gwen.
Oh, good! Cori walks over, just like bodily carrying Farron, and just kind of hands him to Arjhan. And kneels next to Caelum and says, well, that's not the only thing that's broken. And she's going to check out his leg. Is it the same leg that got turned into a bean?
You know what? Let's say for funsies, yes.
That's not funsy at all.
You have the,
Yeah,
you have
Cori.
the worst leg with this leg. You have the worst luck with this leg, Caelum.
I had better luck when it was off.
Yeah, Cori looking at it and doing a quick field medic inspection. It's not broken. Nothing about this leg seems inherently wrong.
Mm-hmm.
But when Caelum goes to stand, you can see like the muscles are just almost spasming, like they don't want to give all of their efforts towards this.
Great.
Am I suffering also the other effects of the stress of the wish spell?
Yes. So you probably shouldn't cast any other spells today. But it was towards the end of the day anyways.
Cam will collapse into Cori's arms. He has a strength of 3 now.
Oof, owie.
Okay. Just for reference for me, this is how it was supposed to go, or
As far as negative consequences that could have happened, I'd say we were pretty lucky.
all right, solid.
Indoor. Would I inherently know that I would no longer be able to cast the wish spell anymore?
I would say yes. You feel like there is so much, like you are in tune with the weave. When you heard Mistra cry out, there is a part of you that basically can't access that specific part of the weave anymore.
As he steadies himself and begins to walk back to town to Gwen. Well, if it calms your mind any, I can't cast that spell anymore.
Thanks. Am I just I am dragging this corpse, aren't I? I'm the only person with free hands. The corpse of Corvain.
Yeah, I think you are.
I can trade.
Get at it, Necromancer.
Actually, this is probably better because I can lift people above my head, but like they're still gonna drag because they're bigger than me. So like having the legs of a dead thing, just make sure they don't fall off, okay?
Okay.
Yeah. The collected corpse of Corvain. There is a staff. There is the man himself, and then he has like several pouches around his belt. And Gwen, as you go to like turn Corvain over, it looks in the same way that we are able to see like what Neanderthals and all of them looked like when they got frozen in a glacier and then steadily melted out. Like Corvain is not like desecrated, like just skin and bones kind of situation. Like he's not the Crypt Keeper levels of turkey jerky. Instead, you see that this figure, the chin's a little bit more angular, but otherwise it's the same nose, same kind eyebrows. This figure looks so much like Caelum. But like the Caelum that you knew at the start of the adventure.
Actually, Gwen, if you don't want to carry him, we could put him in the bag.
No, it's fine. I'll carry him. It's fine.
Okay.
Don't you dare. You have no idea what he's got on him.
Fair. There's that whole, exploding thing. Lady.
Yes, this camera angle is much better. You can see my dog.
There she is, the girl.
Yay!
She knew.
Okay.
So we're going back to town?
So
Which
you guys
town?
had set out from the Goliath camp
Yeah.
and then did all of this on like your first night having left the camp. So are you then traveling back or are you continuing forward?
Continuing forward. It's almost nighttime. We can make camp.
Continuing forward carrying some corpses, or do we want to go back to the house and...
How far away is the
We were
house?
already.
About like a day's worth of travel.
We were in the middle of traveling, right?
Yes.
So we had horses and everything, right?
Aurochs.
Yeah. Well, one of you had an
Aurochs, okay.
Auroch. The other had your Phantom. The other had your Summon Steed, which you and Caelum were currently riding on. Arjhan, I believe,
Gotcha.
had.
At one point, I had a war horse. It's
At one point, you
somewhere.
have several war horses.
We've purchased many an animal on this journey.
Okay, well, I've named one, and that's the one I care about.
Aw.
Where is Arvak?
They would have been at the Goliath camp. We could have picked
Yeah.
them up.
Okay. If not, then it would have been at my house, and I would have brought him along anyway.
Yeah. If not, just the Epona whistle. Arvak comes from like over a hill.
Show us the meaning of haste.
So yeah, are you guys just like
Alright.
treading back to the Goliath camp at this point?
Or do we want to go to Vascor?
Yeah, I totally forgot our intention on the road, so we'll
Yeah, we were on our way to Vascor. weren't we?
Vascor. Yeah.
How far is it to
I
Vascor?
mean, let's keep going, I guess.
You guys had, it was looking like it was going to be an 8-day travel, and that was before you had to worry about Caelum being not exactly in the best shape, and also you have another body with you. if you had been able to move with a quickness, you would have been able to get there in roughly about 8 days or so, or closer to the 5-day margin by just cutting off a bunch of time, running your Aurochs and steeds into the ground. But now that you have, again, more people,
Right.
an additional
let's put it this way.
Yeah.
We need to rest, and we have Farron with us now. When he wakes up, he's going to need to go somewhere.
Right.
So knowing that,
Should
is
we
the
go back to
plan?
Should we go back to the house?
the house is probably the best option. We'll be able to get Farron to where he needs to go a lot easier.
All right.
If we go back to the house, can we attempt to drop it on Vascor?
Vascor is not a place that you are familiar with.
Right.
You had basically appeared there and then same day just got the fuck out of there. Like, there was never a time period where you even took a long rest while in Vascor.
The Goliath tribe is the place that is closest to Vascor, that we're familiar enough to drop a waypoint, basically.
Well,
Okay.
isn't Sertelier a lot closer?
No.
Not really.
Not really. Okay.
No, it's further in the same direction.
It's like a triangle, and you guys are trying to go to the farthest point, but there's just a straight side where it is, okay, Sertelier and then Goliath camp, but either way will lead you to the same point.
Okay.
Where's my distractibility? I keep on saying I'm going to pull up the map.
Go into the house.
There it is.
Okay. So you turn around and begin making your way towards the house. Do you travel through the night?
That seems
thinking-
like a
I'm-
that seems like a bad idea. If we would have to travel through the night, then we make camp. Does anybody disagree with that?
I do not disagree with that at all.
No.
Okay.
Okay. So, travel through the night, and you
Not through the night.
Not through the night.
Not through the night.
Yes.
If we would have to travel through the night, then we make camp
Okay.
when night falls.
I would say, yeah, night's maybe like an hour, 2 hours away. Like, the sun is already setting low by the time that you guys had decided, okay, let's make camp here and then do all of this bullshit. So it's gonna be about at least about 8 hours to get back to where you were, a full day's travel. So making camp seems like a much more solid play right now.
Okay.
And if you decide not even to move from where you were, there's the remains of a campfire and some nice logs that have been set where the Ifrit was sitting.
And Cori's in summer form. Bonfire.
Yep. Those logs just reignite and your bonfire's back.
Is Farron, good?
It's very tiring to come back from the dead.
I wouldn't know.
Yeah, at this point, mechanically, Farron has 5 levels of exhaustion.
Oof. Oof.
Yeah, he's not doing
Oof.
he's not doing super hot. He's not dead. It's just gonna take him a while to get back to being used to being alive.
All right.
Mood.
Welcome to Monday, am I right?
We make camp.
Okay.
And Cori keeps watch over both. She basically spends the night kind of going back and forth between Farron and Caelum, making sure that they're both okay.
Caelum's sleeping like the dead.
Huh?
Okay.
I think at some point, while she's keeping watch over Arjhan, or not Arjhan, over Caelum, she will approach Arjhan and basically watching Caelum sleep. She tells him, he really pushed himself today. which he's well within his right to do. I trust him to know not to go too far.
He thought that this is what he needed to do. And I don't blame him.
Cori nods. If I were in the same situation, I don't know if I would trust myself. I mean, I have been in the same situation, or similar ones at least.
What do you mean?
Well, Arjhan, what happened in the Feywild changed me. I can do things that are, well, no one else can do. Sharing my seasons, that's not something within the abilities of a normal Eladrin.
Is that from being a Caelum, or did taking the mantle of a Caelum do that much to you?
Not the mantle of a Caelum. I'm beginning to suspect it means something else. And still being under the thumb of Shah, it doesn't sit well with me. Arjhan, I'm exhausted. The things that I do, I don't think a mortal body was intended to do these things. And if I work on instinct, I will run it into the ground. And she just kind of looks at Caelum as she says this. And he will too, evidently.
I'm not going to pretend to know the power that you're speaking of, but is there someone else familiar with it? Someone that you trust?
I think the trusting part is the rub there. Perhaps we should keep our eyes open. But in the meantime, I need someone to keep me accountable.
Okay. Thank you for the raid.
Triumphant Blunder, thank you so much for the raid. That's a great name.
Whatever you need, Cori.
Just don't let me push myself too far.
I don't think I could stop you if I tried. Any of you.
That's probably true, but if you tell me not, if you tell me not to,
I will give you a stern warning if I think you're in danger. Same as I always do.
That should be enough. She like puts a hand on his shoulder and then looks back down at Caelum and then just reiterates, that should be enough.
As far as catastrophic disasters go, I still think this was infinitely better than the alternative.
Cori nods. I should check on Farron again.
Arjhan will nod.
She wanders off to make sure that guy's still breathing.
Yeah, me seems to be breathing fine, although there is still, like, there is the night air, and he just has steam coming out of his mouth with every breath. Gwen, what are you doing at this point?
I was probably sleeping during this conversation. I assume
sure.
that they were not just having it in front of me. Gwen is, she's just sleeping.
Okay. Sounds good. Just wanted to check.
Yeah, no.
All right. And so, Caelum, you are asleep, which is good. And as you are sleeping, you find yourself once more in a rather old-looking library. And as you are looking around, you hear the sound of wheels. And coming from a longer hallway, you see in their chair Mistra, who currently has an arm sort of resting over their stomach, blanket over their legs. And they look at you, and she just gets this almost like confused and disappointed look. But she says, "You understand why I cannot let you perform certain spells anymore."
I'm sorry.
She raises a hand and just sort of like puts up a finger. "This is not the time for apologies. I will recover. I always do. But you need to know that there are consequences to those around you, to those who believe in you when you do things like this. Do you understand this, Magister?
Yes, ma'am.
I will not revoke your title or your position. But in a situation where there might be a call to do something outside of your scope, it is better to ask for help than to try and do it alone.
Yeah.
And at that, she says, "Did you find what you were looking for?"
I have the body of Corvain Nightfeather.
Well, hopefully that's something.
Hopefully he kept his research notes on him. Find out a little bit more about whatever he was up to in the plane of negative energy.
And she nods and says, "I'm sure you will find it."
Did you get my message about remembering?
She nodded. Or she nods.
It was the ceremony right before the sundering. The Raven Queen had opened up a portal to some plane. It went wrong.
And you see that she kind of rubs the top of her legs and she says, I am very familiar with the events of the Sundering. Now you know why we had to put limitations on the magics of the plane. They are dangerous. But ultimately, in the right hands, they can be used for good. When the time comes, as you remember more things, as I'm sure that you will, just remember, the power that you use comes from somewhere. To use it thinking that you are a master of it, well, anyone who thinks that they are a master of anything is the first person to make a mistake.
I never said I was the master of anything. It was a long shot and a gamble, and I took it.
I am not claiming that you are either, but these are things to remember. In the meantime, rest. And I'm sure you will be back to as you were in no time.
Yes, ma'am.
And as she is ready to dismiss you, you see a tesserim jump from one of the top top bookshelves and land kind of onto her shoulder, and you recognize it as Mugen. And you see the little white spot of fur on its chest, sort of like preen up a little bit as Mistra just gives Mugen like the under chin scritchies, as you can hear the sound of 1,000 bees inside this cat. It loves being pet so much, all them purrs, and then Mugen just sort of hops onto Mistra's lap and curls up and just gets cozy.
One last thing, Mistra, if it's possible, I'd like to make a stop at the Library Saloon in the demispace.
And she nods. And at that, she just makes a motion with her hand. And the layout of the library that you are currently in seems to shift around you, but it is like you are standing in place and the ground below you is just moving with quickness. From what you are able to gather as you are moving, it seems like this area where Mistra is like an annex of Saloon's library. They aren't two separates, they are both one in the same, two separate parts of the same whole. And as the floor stops, you feel the weight of a chair pressing up against your lower half as you sit down in front of a desk that you have not been to in quite some time.
Caelum will smile, stand and walk over to an empty bookshelf. He reaches into his bag and he puts 2 books on the shelf, one of them being How to Train Your Chimera, and the second one is The Language of a Lost, a primer that he's been writing.
Okay. And as you put these 2 books back onto the shelf, that is where we are going to go into our break for the evening. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody who has decided to stop on by and join us for this wonderful adventure. We're going to try and be back in 5 to 10 minutes, so don't go no place unless it's to grab a food, grab a drink, grab a friend, or possibly go to indooradventure.redbubble.com, pick yourself up something nice, and we'll see you guys shortly. All right, everybody. See you soon. We have returned. Hello, everybody. Before we begin, or if you guys have a bit, I wanted to do a thing at the beginning of this episode, but I completely forgot because, hey, guess what? Y'all got me something really nice for my birthday, so I wanted to open it and showcase it for everybody who decided that they were going to be here.
Yeah,
And that's the bit.
That's the
That's totally
bit.
the bit.
That's
Yeah,
the
that's the bit. That's the bit.
Hey! Hey, guess what? I bitted myself.
You guys made me ink.
Indoor bit.
This
day.
box is fucking massive. I would like to point out, like, it
For all you
fills up
audiocast
the
listeners.
screen. The layout is not big enough for this, but this is from a WizKids box, so I am excited. Wow, okay, I was full of shit.
Oh
Never
shit,
mind.
that fills up the
fuck.
entire thing, don't
Yeah,
it?
so remember how we thought that it wasn't actually going to be that big? It fills up the whole fucking box. So that's a thing. It is the
But we
Icewind Dale rhyme of the Frost Maiden, Orvetoras, who is my
It's a big
favorite
chungus.
dragon.
We were
She a
comparing
big lady.
the sizes of the Chardelin dragon and Arviatoras, and I looked it up, and the Chardelin dragon is only huge. Arviatoras is a gargantuan
Gargantuan.
creature.
Mhm.
Yes, so I have
Oh,
this
no.
Oh my
dragon.
god.
Is she beautiful? Do I still
Oh,
have
what a
my-
beauty.
I do still have a box cutter nearby because I pre-opened the big box because I didn't want to
I
try.
half
and
expected
get that,
Steven to be like, fuck this, take all this Gundam stuff, knock it off, and then put the dragon there.
God, I would never do that to my Gundam things. I love you guys, but that thing's very expensive and very hard to replace.
It is in fact a mini, but it's a maxi mini.
Mini
Is
is,
it
like
is it
the guidelines of it, like a pirate
It is-
guidelines kind of thing.
It
Is
is
it
miniature. You just don't want the actual size.
is it scaled to like work on a battle map alongside other miniatures?
Yes.
And hey, it's a dragon, it is scaled.
Ah,
Get
Get the fuck
fuck
out.
out of here. Oh my god. There's so many things. This is much bigger than the Chardelin box as well. Just throwing that out.
Stick around, Exolotl culture, you're gonna get a lot of that.
Oh my god. Okay. She hefty. She thick. And I have to put the tail on as well. That is not there. But
By God.
and if anyone hasn't seen last night's episode of Rime of the Frost Maiden, I'll plug on that because it was quite fortuitous that the dragon arrived when it did.
Can I help you, lady?
Ooh!
so
Oh my
this
god!
Big boy.
is how
big girl.
big this Goral is. And
Ah,
the little dead wizard's on top. He's all painted up and stuff. It's very fun. To put it into perspective, here is a standard-sized player mini. One of the like 8mm tall ones. You know, for scale. There's him.
very exciting. Oh my god,
I need to get more shelves.
that's terrifying.
I love this thing. Thank you guys so much. This is incredible.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Birthday.
Birth.
Barfmas.
And now she just gets to sit on the floor until I can figure out a better place to put that fucking honker of a dragon. I'm so excited. Again, thank
You
you
got a
guys.
fireplace? Because that bitch belongs on a mantle.
That's my next goal is to get those like mounted dragon heads that WizKids sold.
They're expensive.
Yes.
That's why it's a goal and not an actuality. So that's it for our bit. Thank you guys thank you guys so much. This is very nice.
We
And it
love
has that
you.
like weird fresh plastic smell too that always sends me back to being a kid at Toys R Us. He's great. Speaking of things that are super great right now, you guys.
Lady.
Lady, she's so great.
Lady's good.
But Caelum has had his dream of putting the books back up onto the shelf, speaking with Mistra. Gwen, man, your dream goes by uneventfully. It's the big old black. Like, you get to go to sleep, wake up feeling well rested. Ah, what a great day. It's always nice to go to sleep as Gwen. Cori, you and Arjhan also are able to have a good night's rest. You probably take shifts, I'm assuming, just as a general, like, make sure your friends are still breathing sort of thing. But waking up the next day, everything seems to be fine. Farron is still asleep. He does not seem to be like, I've got my 8, time to get up and move. Like, he is very much just passed the fuck out at this point. He's still up, and in that in the morning air again, his breath is just sort of coming out in steamy clouds. But it doesn't seem like it's really stopped since he was able to regain a new form. But that is neither here nor there.
Is it?
I don't know. Do you want to try and do any checkies on him?
Yes. Yes, I would. I mean, it's based off of everything that has happened. Is there any unintentional side effects that Arjhan may be able to perceive?
You're guessing this may or may not be an unintentional side effect, as you are fairly familiar that the true resurrection spell is also at the level where things might end up going wrong.
But what if we just resurrected him?
Also very interesting to note. You can always try and check.
I would like to. Is there a specific role that you would like me to do?
Make an Arcana check.
Arcana? Well, it's a new day, right?
Yes.
That's a 10 on the blood die, so that's cool. I'll just go for it. 9.
A 9. He might be sick. Like, he might have like a weird fever. Like, he just got brought back to life, but like he is running a lot hotter than he used to. At least than you're used to like normal humans running.
Cori or Caelum, in your experience with restorative magics, is there a chance that whenever you get brought back, you could be sick? Like feverish?
Cori, in their summer form, checks his temperature with their hand.
Yeah.
Feels normal to me.
Can I make a medicine check?
Yeah. Make a medicine check.
I can guide. I can guide if I'm not doing it myself.
You can either guide, or if you'd like to provide assistance, you could possibly use the help action.
Statistically, I would like to assist.
Okay.
Seems better.
24.
24. So, Caelum, looking over Farron, again, nothing seems to be inherently wrong. He does seem to be running a little hot right now, but like he's not sweating, he's not shivering, like he doesn't have a fever. It's just that his body temperature is higher than it was before.
Is he running hot in the same way that Cori runs hot in their summer form?
A little bit, yeah.
Cori finds nothing strange about this.
Can I make the assumption that this is a residual of being brought back by an Afridi?
Yeah, you can. I mean, you're always free to make assumptions. I will never stop you from making assumptions about anything.
Would it be an Arcana check to test if this assumption is correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
I have rolled Arcana, so I will guide you on this and not assist.
With Cori's understanding of the name of fire, can they recognize fire living within him?
Possibly, but let's find out what Caelum rolled.
Wow,
23.
Tiamat is 2 for 2 on giving you 4s.
Yeah,
Nice.
praise Tiamat, am I right?
Praise
Right.
Queen.
Last time I did that, I got
Praise
kicked
Queen.
in the chest, and it was amazing.
That sounds like a you problem.
I'm not here to
Problem.
kink shame, but
Yeah, it was not a problem at all.
So, yeah, Caelum, you're guessing that this would definitely seems like something is correlative to being brought back to life by an Afridi. It definitely seems like it might have also been something to do with the fact that Farron's soul was originally shunted out of his body, and then a new soul was put in. So that seems like there was like a weird spatial differential that was created inside of this man. Cori, you are familiar as well with the name of fire. I feel like if you were to reach out to the essence of flame, you would be able to also come to an understanding that the essence of flames, the essence of fire and heat, lives on with Farron in tandem to his own spirit.
I figure it's a residual of having been brought back by an Afridi. He also shared space with Seb for a while, so there might be something conflicting with that. But otherwise, he's fine.
He needs rest. Probably some food. Sooner or later, we're going to have to try to wake him. There's only so much sleeping can do for him before he needs to eat.
Let's give him another day.
Yep. And then do you guys begin the long journey back to the Goliath camp?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. So you travel there, no issue. Like, you see some wildlife on the side of the road, but you all have this aura of, I am so much stronger than you, that the wildlife is like, you know what? I'm not going to fuck with this. Like, it's fine. Like, no animal is going to try and fuck with a full-on dragon man, a lich. Like, they already get spooked around undead anyways. So, like, all of this, bad. At least for the wildlife. But you make it back to the Goliath tribe, closer again towards the end of the day, around when you had initially left. Your house is still where it was. The tribe is relatively near where it was. Cybra, like, oh my god, she has no idea how long you guys have been gone. Was it a day? Was it a month? Was it years? She greets you with the same excited pupper happiness that is always there, and she rushes out towards the tribe as soon as she can sense that you are nearby.
Ah, baby girl, you shouldn't be doing this in your condition.
Just very happy. Does not seem to register that at all.
Give her the scritchies.
She loves
And
them.
lean down to her belly and just say, "How are my little babies doing? You cook really good."
Echo of a chorus of awoos. No.
Peanut butter baby go, bah.
Bah.
So yes, you just give tummy rubs as well. And Cybra is very happy.
Gently.
Yes. But yes, so you are able to return to this thing. The Goliaths come out to greet you. Torizo, he is still here, as he is still taking care of him's child. Chua also kind of greets you and has like a sort of confused expression on her face, like, were you able to go that quickly? But then she sees that you're like carrying one body. You got a corpse as well. Caelum looks really rough, and her first response is like a genuine concern of, is there a threat on the road that you ended up facing?
Just us.
We're the real threats to us.
All we need.
It's okay. Sorry, hold on. It's put like 4 pretzels in my mouth for some reason.
Again, it's the food service thing. I will ask you how your food is when your mouth is full.
And no other time.
no other time will I
No,
ask.
it's fine. We set free a creature that had been enslaved, and it in turn gave us it let
Gave
us
us our
do
friend back.
yeah. So one of our friends is back from the dead, but like really back, not like wow we do the back thing. And then this is the corpse of his past life. Is that what I'm right?
Spot on.
It again, just us. There's no threat. Besides, no, there is no threat.
She kind of
Just
like
us.
raises an eyebrow when you're like, there's no threat besides. She's like,
We'll talk about it later.
okay. And then she
Sure,
asks if your friend is going to be staying for a while, or if you're going to be traveling with them. If you need a tent set up to pay your reverence to this ancient elf corpse that you have brought with you.
Actually, I was hoping to bring the corpse to your tent, Chua.
And she just sort of like gets a like, don't know if I like that, but
Gwen also gives him a look like,
she will.
Why?
She'll sort of like, I think like Gwen and Chua just why like at the same time.
We'll talk about it in your tent.
Oh shit. Where is my mind at? Divine sense on this corpse.
Okay,
I should have done that immediately.
and divine sense. That is.
Fiend undead?
It's just
Yeah.
celestial fiend undead, right? Because Fae was specifically for Oath of Nature.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, you get none of those. It
Okay,
is
just
a
checking.
corpse. It's good. I mean, it's a good check. It's a solid check in this campaign. You never know. But
Well, as soon
thankfully,
as you
it's
start-
just a dead body.
As soon as you started getting excited about having brought the body out of there, I was all like, oh shit, we're gonna have to fight this thing.
No,
It's fine.
if anything, a lot of things got righted by there not being this elf corpse there anymore.
Good.
Yeah. But yeah, so Chua just sort of like has a quizzical look on her face, but she nods and like she'll ask you to follow her. And are you all coming with her, or is it just Cori, Caelum, and the body?
We should come along.
Okay.
Cool.
Bringing Farron with?
If he can get his own tent set up so he can rest somewhere.
Yeah, they'll put him in the med tent. Like
With like, very express orders to inform us if he stirs.
yeah. So entering into Chua's tent, you have Corvain's body with all of his stuff. Chua has she'll roll out a mat, and then you lay Corvain's body onto it. And again, for the rest of you outside of Gwen who have not gotten a good look at Corvain, if Caelum had been born a high elf instead of a Shadar Kai, that would be what you see on Corvain. And even now that Caelum is past the age of 300 magically and has some really cool streaks of gray hair and other such things, Corvain also has the same hair patterns. It is one for one. These could be confused as a Prince and Pauper situation.
There are too many people who wear this face.
Just me and him.
And Cypress.
True.
If I had a copper for every person who had this face, I'd have 3 coppers, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened thrice.
I don't know any rights of the Raven Queen, so I was hoping you would help us take care of the body.
And when you say take care of the body, she looks at you. to send his spirit to her?
I'm sorry, I'm confused as to why we brought this. I thought you wanted information from him.
Right. Well, haven't grifted him yet, so I don't know if he has a journal. That's also part of the process, but respect for the dead and all that.
I
Also,
understand.
Sending his soul back to the Raven Queen might be a little bit bad for me.
Not a good idea. I
Is it-
understand your respect for the dead, but as far as we're concerned, it's you.
Right, yeah, because, like, the soul that was in him is now in you. Isn't that the whole thing?
Yeah.
So you don't want to send his soul anywhere. Just make sure you don't, like, desecrate his body and we should be fine, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm being precisely honest. I don't know if I want to get her attention.
Yeah.
Caelum will take off his mask. I'm tired of running from her. And it's about time that we do something about it. Not now, not in the
Okay.
future, but eventually.
All right.
By the by, Chua. Motions. Consort of the Raven Queen. Surprise.
That would make this body over 1,000 years old.
Yeah, well, if you have a cold storage like the plane of negative energy, it wouldn't really rot, would
Is
it?
that what happened to all of you?
Just
No,
me.
we did not go there. We just... Okay. Oh, here's the whole story. Bleh. Unless you want me to give the whole story in Gwen's voice.
No, I
Bleh.
like the bleh, and like
Bleh.
you were literally gone for a day, so like just like that works for Chew is just here's the whole story. Bleh. Like
Expositionary
deadpan
bleh.
Gwen. Yeah. And Chua
That's all
just
she says. You can't just lean in and whisper and say whisper, whisper, whisper. You have to actually say the plan.
Can we make an exposition spell? A spell that just like
I cast
exposits.
it's legend lore.
Oh.
You're not wrong.
Get on it, Caelum.
Okay.
Amazing.
But Caelum will respectfully take off the clothes and the staff, rifle through the pockets.
Yep. So, Caelum, as you are grifting the remains of Corvain, you find his robes. He is wearing a set of what look like they look like winter boots. Like they have like fur lining on the inside. It's very tough leather on the out. You find his staff. He has a ring on his left finger, or on his left hand that you are assuming is generally where there is a marital ring. But on his right hand, he is actually wearing a ring that has 2 loops on it that goes with his pointer finger and his index finger on the right. And this ring looks like it is made of gold that has some almost inscribings on it that looks like it is like he's wrapped a spell scroll around 2 of his fingers. A very small one made of metal, but a spell scroll nonetheless. Looking around, he also seems to have 8 empty potion bottles. And then there are 2 potion bottles that have a kind of like a dull bluish liquid in them, and they seem to be cold to the touch. And then there is a potion. Let me just check real quick. And this potion has inside of it, you see that it is an amber-like liquid. You see that there is a scorpion's tail, what looks like a snake tooth there is a dead spider, and against all odds, there is what looks like a small heart that is just pulsing with a slight beat to it.
What that?
You can definitely do some checkies to find out. And on top of this, you also find 2 small containers of what looks like an incredibly dried out, like it's like a fine powder at this point, but it looks like it could have been an ointment at some point, as well as 3 rather impressive looking diamonds, or 3 rather impressive looking sapphires, and 1 incredibly impressive looking diamond. Arjhan, as Caelum is pulling out these gemmies, you're guessing that those sapphires are worth roughly around 1,000 gold pieces each, and that diamond is worth about 5,000. Caelum, you also find a spell book. And on top of the spell book, not literally on top of it, but also rifling through his pockets, you find what looks like a ornate wooden box that is about 8 inches in length and roughly 5 inches in width, and maybe about 3 inches depth. But
Detect magic.
So, detect magic. And
At first level.
Caelum, when you cast detect magic, you also know that the effects of the wish spell that you were under have now been extended by 2 days.
Okay.
So, for your detect magic, the robe, super fucking magic. The boots, pretty magic. The staff, I would say, like, very magic. The ring that he has on his right finger that looks like the 2 spell scrolls intertwined, or the spell scroll intertwined around the 2 fingers, also radiating magic. Potions, pretty magic. One of them being more magic than the others, which is the amber liquidy one. And then there is, like, trace amounts of magic on the sapphires. Obvious magic on the spell book, and it seems like on this wooden box, it is ornately made and looks like it has like small squares and circles and other such like geometrical shapes that are kind of on this box. And as you're holding it and your finger presses into one of these, one of the squares, you can feel that piece of the box move. And you get the sense that this is a puzzle box. And coming from deep within this puzzle box, there is something so very inherently magical, but you don't know how to get it. And the box itself also seems to radiate this magic, but not the same level of depth.
Caelum's nose just bleeds this black ichor and he wipes away. I'm not gonna do that again. Everything here is super magical.
Was it just the magic here that did that to you?
No, I assume that there's a price to pay for using a very high level spell, and I am currently suffering it. He flips a sapphire over and around. Is there anything written on the sapphire?
There is nothing written on this first sapphire. And looking at the second one, you get a... It's like an innate feeling that you should crush this. That you should break this in your palm. But you aren't sure why. But when you think about Corvain's research, connected with that, you feel like you want to break this gem.
I'm not going to do it here in the middle of the room. Something's telling me to break this sapphire.
Not all intrusive thoughts should be acted on.
This is more instinctive than intrusive.
What is it?
Well, there are some spells that require gems of a certain value, high priced. When you crush them or destroy them, they'll summon an item to you.
Oh, yeah. Caelum, bless your heart. I don't know if you're strong enough to crush a gem. Is it something you want me to do? I do have the strongest grip strength here.
Caelum uses the power of gravity. Not now, but
Yes. Caelum, you also get that same kind of instinctive sense that if Gwen were to break this gem, whatever feelings that you had about Corvain's research may be lost.
I'll save off on it. From how I know Corvain and what he's like, he'll point to the blue potions, probably some sort of cold resistance. He has probably a contingency spell placed upon himself, so every time he dies, he revives. It's a brute force way to do things.
Terrible one.
Look at me.
So, do you
Well, look
want
at
me
him.
to do a ceremony for this individual to the Raven Queen? Yes or no?
Caelum will move the stuff off to the side, but leave the wedding ring on. Please.
And she begins to set up for a ceremony spell. It'll take 10 minutes in order to do the ritual.
Can I look at the potions?
Yes, it can.
I would like to look at the potions.
All right, Arjhan, make 2 Arcana checks, as there are 2 different kinds of potions.
Okay.
And if you have your alchemist's kit with you, I will say you have advantage on these.
All right, so that's a 9 for the first one.
Okay.
I rolled a 4 and then a 1.
These look like a cool blue color. And cool blue colors usually correspond to like ice stuff.
23.
Mountain Dew Baja Blast!
Baja Blast.
Baja!
Yeah. Oh, no, what if it's someone's Bahamut? 23 on the second.
23 on the second. Arjhan. This is... You've heard about potions like this before. That there are individuals, not necessarily from your country that you know of, but who have aged longer and been alive longer than you feel is often reasonable, especially when they are humans that don't seem to have like a divine right or any kind of connection to the undead or the fiends, but instead they are just crafty enough. And one of the things that has allowed them to remain crafty is something called a potion of longevity. Now, what a potion of longevity will do is that if you are to pop open the top, all the contents on the inside will dissolve into the potion, and then if you were to quaff it, you can decrease your own age by a certain amount. But at the more times that you take said potion, there's also the risk that you might just get older instead. It's kind of a coin flip, but for the most part, it is a relatively safe way of maintaining, again, an extended life.
So, this is a potion of longevity, which is incredibly powerful stuff. As best as I can tell, this is frappe.
What, like that coffee drink?
Just anything that's like frozen.
Oh.
I mean, I just know that's cold.
Oh.
Honestly, I don't do a lot of like ice magic and or alchemy and stuff. Most of my stuff is fairly caustic.
Right. Like really expensive.
Acidic.
Oh, yes. That's what I... She looks at the... I wonder what this could be.
Now, if Corvain was also a Magister of Mystra, then he would also have access to overcharging his spells. Maybe it also takes away years from his life, hence the Potion of Longevity. Except he's not playing around with the fact that he's undead.
Well, Caelum, all of the spoils are from your gamble. What would you like to do with them?
He'll take the sapphire and the cloak. When I'm feeling up to it, I'll identify the rest of the stuff. I'm gonna go crush this.
Not alone, you're not.
You'll also take the spell book.
Okay. Okay, just like really far away from the tribe, guys.
Do it in the house.
Do not do it in the house.
Not in the house.
Not in the house.
I don't
No,
think-
like really far. I mean, like like go an hour away. I don't know what this is gonna do. I don't know what it's gonna do, and I don't want it to hurt my people.
Okay, well, if that's the case, we need to wait.
Understandable.
If that's the case, then we need to wait until after Chua is done.
Yeah.
Right. Caelum's gonna leaf through Corvain's spellbook
Okay.
in the time that Chu is performing the ceremony then.
All right. So, as you are leafing through the spell book, I'll say that you get up to a certain level of spells.
We can talk about it later.
Yes, I have sent you the spells that you have found thus far. Because as Chua is getting this ceremony completed, and she begins the rite, all things considered, the ceremony takes roughly an hour in order to perform. If I believe I am correct on the ceremony spell anyway, so let me just do a quick double checky real quick. Although I feel like there are some of you... Yeah, casting time is an hour. So she is in, like, the middle of the casting of this ceremony spell. And you are all inside of her tent, except for Caelum, who has wandered off from this? Or are you, like, sitting inside the tent?
No, he would have sitting
Okay.
inside the tent, yeah.
And as she is performing this ceremony, dedicating this body to the Raven Queen, the four of you begin to hear the sound of ravens off in the distance, and it sounds like there are many of them. And the sound is growing closer. And outside of this tent, you began to hear yells. There are people now who do not seem like they are cheering the coming of these ravens, as one might expect, but it sounds like these are scared individuals. And
What?
inside of Chua's tent, a collection of ravens. And we say collection because this is more than would be a parliament or an unkindness. This is a good 100 or so ravens burst through the flaps of Chua's tent and fill the space. And as they are swarming around you, you see they come into a face that these ravens seem to almost merge, like a school of fish creating a shape underwater these ravens do the same in air as they fly, kind of weaving in and out to create more of this, again, face style. And Cori, you recognize this as the face of the queen that you walked away from. And this face looks down at the corpse of Corvain and looks towards you, Cori. And it says, one way or another, the child will be mine. And ravens begin to swoop down, and you see about 6 of them begin to then level themselves towards Caelum. Caelum, as the front 3 near you, you see the bodies of these ravens grow and morph into humanoids. And then they are next to you. One has their hand on the, 2 of them with one hand on your shoulder apiece. One that has what looks like a curved wicked blade towards your neck. And the other 3 are now standing guard around you. And you hear the Raven Queen say, I fulfilled my end of the bargain. Now it is time you hold to yours. And as she says this, Caelum, I need you to make 6 charisma saves.
Boy, howdy. 12 on the first.
Plus 4.
16 on the first.
Okay.
5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
So that is 1
9
success.
on the second.
Okay.
Do you want a 10?
Yes.
You may take a 10.
This is awful.
14 on the second.
That is still not enough. As you all see these ravens swarm around Caelum, swarm around the body of Corvain, they both disappear. Caelum, you feel like you are completely... You have been banished before, but not in this way. And you find yourself standing surrounded by a small militant group dressed in these dark black raven feathers, each wearing these opaque ivory masks that just seem to tilt their head towards you. And you are in a place of gloom. You are in a place beyond where you have previously been before. You are within the Shadowfell. You have a book with you, though. A very important book. But you are still not where you remember being.
Is Caelum able to stand?
Barely. Your strength is still at 3. Your movement speed is still 25. Meanwhile, as you all see Caelum just get enveloped by this swarm of ravens, you see the queen look towards Cori, specifically to Cori. And Arjhan, you and Gwen can both feel her gaze on your Eladrin friend. And the queen says, clearly, without any breaks or stutters, our business is done. And the ravens take flight and exit out of Chua's tent.
Would we have recognized that as a banishment spell?
I would say yes. You have been subject to banishment spells yourself. You would recognize this.
Gwen's gonna move out into the tribe and make sure that the panic subsides and that everything's okay. Like, not explain the situation, but just give a, everything's fine. It's been handled. Don't worry about it. Go about your day.
Yeah,
Reassurance.
there is there's a quite a bit of general panic. People are not in a great way right now, but the birds have left, and you are like doing your best to calm them down. I would say this is your tribe. It's an okay thing to do. Like, you don't have to make a roll for it, but people are still just like a little flummoxed by all of this.
Cori waits a beat after the birds have left, and then turns and looks to Arjhan. We don't have much time. There's a chance that I can break her concentration on the banishment if I invoke her name.
What?
I can invoke her name, and I don't know what will happen, but it might bring Caelum back.
Am I still surrounded, by the way?
Yes.
Man, I really wish that it was an hour from now and I could reference the stress rules that will be released in Van Richten's Guide to Ravenloft to see if there is a mechanical way to reason out what how Arjhan would react to this. Instead, I'm going to make a wisdom save.
Okay.
I rolled a 21, so I'm going to say, you're going too far.
Then what do you propose we do?
I don't know, but not that.
There is like a look of determination in Cori's face. And once this one last chance is gone, it drops to utter despair. And she just steps away.
I would like to Blessing of the Raven Queen away from this pack.
Okay.
And from Corvain's book, cast Dispel Magic on myself.
Okay. So, it is of the spell level that you would normally be able to cast. So, but I would say, given the circumstance, make a Arcana check.
15.
Yeah, a 15 would make it. So, Caelum, as you go to Dispel Magic, you feel like there's not enough time as this unkindness behind you is coming down upon you. You've teleported away. These are the same style individuals that you are. They can also track you. You just need a split second. You need someone here. You need some way of giving you this extra time. As these ravens swoop down, your shield glows ever so vibrantly as a silvered spectral owl swoops in front of these ravens that are coming towards you. And you hear in the voice of Amaris, "I'll protect you." And you cast Dispel Magic on yourself. You are then thrown back.
The last words that these unkindness will hear from Caelum is him looking up past the shield as the dispel magic takes hold. Tell your queen we're coming for her.
And dispel magic. Back on the material plane, Cori, you are filled with this sense of despair. You walk out. And as Gwen is in the process of putting out metaphorical fires that have been started as these people are terrified at the fact that there was just a fucking like cicada swarm of ravens that just descended on their tribe, there is a like popping noise followed by the sound of like a crumpling sound of gear, and you look back to where the sound came from, and Caelum is just laying there from the dispel magic. And as you are approaching him and look at the shield that he has typically around his shoulder, it is of a matte texture. But he's here.
Gwen is going to move back to them, look at Arjhan, look at Cori, and say, "Get him out of here. Get out. This can't happen here."
Cori picks him up, like almost disbelieving. And she looks down at Caelum, and she looks back up at Arjhan, realizing what she almost did, and he stopped her. There's like a moment between them, and she goes.
Arjhan follows.
Yeah. Gwen, at this point, Chua comes over and just hand onto your shoulder and says, "I think now would be a good time to bring the council together."
Yeah.
Okay. So, Caelum, you are getting taken out of town, I'm assuming, to your house upon the hill. As this is happening,
I
Yeah.
hate to be the kid asking for homework, but he did cast magic again after
so the
like,
magic,
still being under the effects of the witch spell.
So the way that works, that is only for until your first long rest. Specifically, the thing that has been prolonged is that his duration of being at 3 strength has been extended by another 2 days.
Gotcha.
Yes. Other than that, fine. But he is very weak at the moment. He looks like the kind of person you could spill soup on, and he would apologize to you.
Look at that high-waisted elf with feminine hips. No, that's what I'm sensitive about.
So,
Caelum would make this.
you have scooped up Caelum, and you are making your way to the house. Caelum, do you say anything before your friends reach the doors?
He's reaching for his shield.
Yeah, your shield's there. It feels different.
She's still back there.
Soup
Amaris
apologize.
came out to protect me again.
We'll get her back.
We definitely will.
Yeah, and you guys are able to reach the threshold of Gideon throw open the doors. As you enter in, Gideon, with no sense of the urgency that the three of you have brought, reminds you all to take off your shoes upon entering.
I don't wear shoes, Gideon.
For sure. And you are all able to get inside of the house as Caelum again states she's still over there when holding on to his shield. Gwen, the council has been hastily pulled together at this point. And there is like everyone is just like, what the fuck? It seems like Terizo just is like, he just wants to know what happened. Barda is there with like big papoose on, like sleeping child, and she like looks at Terizo and is like shush, baby. Like if baby is in the room, we all need to speak with like level voices, but at the same time, Chieftain.
Answering for my friends. Okay. There was a corpse that was brought into town. That was the pre-incarnation of one of my companions. This corpse apparently, without my knowledge, had the trackings of the Raven Queen. This corpse has been taken out of town and will remain there. This person who has the calling of the Raven, who has the ire or the attention of the Raven Queen, will not be allowed back in town.
And
sorry, I didn't know.
And Chua asks, why did they have me perform the ceremony if did you know that this would happen?
I had no, I did not know that this was going to happen. No. If I had known this was going to happen, I would not have brought it anywhere near here. I know that Caelum is reckless, but I did not think that it would be this bad.
And there is just like a group of like hubbub, like they like talking amongst themselves very quickly. And there is a pause as Chua raises like kind of like stamps her staff down onto the ground. And she says, we have given the queen what she has asked for. This corpse that you brought into town was important to her, yes?
Apparently, yes.
Then it has been returned. And as she says this, one of the others of the council will state, I heard her say something about a child. And at that, Barda sort of like brings her Babu a little bit closer to her.
The child in question was a spirit of perhaps a child god captured within the shield of my companion, the Pale One. She was, from my understanding, she had some connection to the Raven Queen. Perhaps a child of the Raven Queen.
And they're like presenting that as a possible thing. They are all just like, oh, what? Like, that can happen? Like, there is a perplexedness about this council. With that, make a persuasion check with advantage. For the last couple days, I've been wanting to like mentally say like, oh, roll a diplomacy check, but that hasn't been a thing since like 3.5. So like, I don't know where that's been coming from. Yeah, we don't look at 4th edition today.
Persuasion.
Freaking make
It's a 4th edition.
Goddamn hearts, Steven.
Boy,
How much?
how's a 12?
A 12. So you are doing your best to alleviate the situation. It is not going great. This meeting is definitely going to keep you busy for, I want to say, like the next 2 hours or so of just like making sure we're all cool. Caelum's not welcome back as long as this is happening, much to your chagrin. At the same time, at least we're following an active god. But at the same time, like
We didn't get destroyed.
Chua has she has a look about her that upon seeing the face of this goddess that she has followed for most of her life, she's scared about what she saw. Because the Raven Queen would give her like whispers and bestow abilities in that sense, but as far as the actual presence of a deific figure in her tent and having that figure be pissed is not something that she has been training for her entire life. So she's a wee bit shaken.
Yeah, Gwen will do her best to try and comfort her and like explain that I try to relate to her that because Gwen has seen a few gods at this point and
You got kicked in the
she's trying
chest
to
by
get
one.
on the low. Yeah, also we met Mistra, we met Tiamat, we met a lot at this point.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah, and
She'll just spend their time doing that.
Okay. And so as you are again kind of caught up in this council meeting, we'll go back to the house. Caelum, you feel like you are in a safe-ish environment now. I mean, Gideon seems rather safe as far as places go. You still have all of the things that you had taken / grifted from Corvain's body amongst your group. It's minus the corpse itself. That seems to have taken a bit of a disappearance. But your quick use of the Dispel magic spell seemed to have worked in your favor. But now you are here with Cori and Arjhan inside the house. And your shield, as you look at it, has this almost a matte texture to it.
He's silent, leaving the shield in a corner and staring at it. Hoping
is a
that
4th
the
edition thing.
symbol of Amaris and Saloon will appear again.
I would say that it is the symbol of Amaris. But again, instead of having that nice reflective chrome quality...
Basically, the sheen comes back
Yeah.
to signify that Amaris is back.
But it does not. It is just the symbol.
Cori is pacing, twitchy.
Arjhan is like sitting down on one of the chairs, just like arms wrapped around his like one of his knees. Very similar to what I'm doing right now on camera. It's just sort of like idly playing with his talisman, his holy symbol. But not really saying anything, and just like sort of looking at the ground, going over what happened in his head, thinking about what he could have done. Not really finding any answers.
Cori stops her pacing in front of Arjhan, puts a hand on the table in front of him.
And he'll look at it, look up at her, but not really say anything.
Now, for the purpose of the cinematic, Cori, which hand do you place in front of Arjhan? Is it the mechanical one, or is it the still fleshy Eladrin one?
I'm gonna say it's the mechanical one. She looks at him and says, I do need guidance. I need to know what would happen if I invoked the Raven Queen's true name.
Are you asking for Arjhan to cast guidance? Or are you... are we
Guidance
speaking
with a
literally or
capital G?
mechanically?
We're speaking
No.
metaphorically.
Spells are italicized.
Right.
Right. I said before, the problem was finding a source that I can trust. But I do still have a source. I need to speak with Shar.
What?
I need to speak with Shar.
Is there no other power? So, knowing that Cori specifically pointed out Shar as the person who had the power that she didn't know how to use, is Arjhan picking up the pieces that you're putting down? Because you never actually said that you are mantling a god.
I want to say that Cori doesn't quite understand that either.
Arjhan, you can make an insight check.
15.
I'd say that this is a beginner's jigsaw puzzle for Arjhan. The pieces are there. They're very large that you can kind of chunk in.
If Shar is the power that you're... the person that... Is there no one other than the God of Secrets that can help you with this? Who has that power? Or knowledge of that power?
She has a library full of names. I've discussed invoking the Raven Queen's name with her before. And she was knowledgeable on the subject.
But didn't share that with you.
She was coy.
You've spoken with her before. Is there a way? What would it take to make her not be coy? To speak plainly? Or is she capable of that?
I'm certain she wouldn't give any information she didn't want to. But if there's a chance that I can find out from her, I still want to try.
Silently, Caelum pulls down his mask, gets up and walks out.
It's absolutely dangerous. We've barely escaped one encounter with the gods today.
She bears no danger to me physically. But she gets into my head.
That's not better. You understand how that's not better.
I do. But her influence is strongest to those who are alone. Would you go with me?
If I say no, would she still go?
Not if you say I shouldn't.
What is the extent of the knowledge that you wish to gain from this?
What would happen if I used the Raven Queen's name?
Personally, I don't think that that's something that we need to find out. That we should even have the temptation to use.
But you do understand what sort of power this could hold. The suffering that Caelum is under, that Amaris is under. If I could say a name and end it. Not to mention the price I paid to gain it.
Why did we seek it out in the first place?
A bargaining chip. To prevent this in the first place.
According to her, your bargain is done.
Well, she's wrong.
What's left?
Well, semantically, I don't have my winter season. But personally, I'm not done with her.
If this is something that you absolutely need, yes, I will go with you. Just so we can end this. I find myself to be a pessimist, and I'll tell you what I think is going to go down. We go there, and whatever information we get, we'll know what will physically happen. What effect you will have on the Raven Queen should you speak her name. I think immediately after that, should that happen, the Raven Queen will also realize that she is not done with you. She will make sure that there is no one left who holds that information, so that it could never be used against her again. There are not many gods that I would stand up against, but least of all would be the goddess of death. because I don't think I would be standing for long.
Well, that's the importance in getting back up again.
I'm not a fan of necromancy. If you need to go, I'll go with you. But this is incredibly dangerous and reckless, and I doubt that it's worth anything more that Shah can do to you. Or anything more that the Raven Queen can do to you. To any of us.
Well, that's why we need to find out.
Okay.
We're not acting on anything. We're just seeking knowledge. Completely ignoring the fact that knowledge unraveled her in the first place.
Okay. So, Caelum, you have walked out of this room, owl mask back on. What are you doing?
Out of the house, a few 100 feet away.
Okay.
He's letting the wind kind of hit his skin as he flips the sapphire in his hands. With a yell of anger, he just smashes it against the ground.
Okay. And as you smash this sapphire against the ground and it connects, the fragments begin to shimmer and glow. And from the unreachable depths that is the center of this jewel, as it breaks open, page after page after page begins to explode outward, showering you in what look like notes of some sort of journal that you haven't yet put together yet. Around you are the makings of Corvain's notes that you have brought here through this instantaneous summoning. But it will be up to you to piece them back together. So here lies before you Corvain's research.
He'll begin to collect the paper.
Okay. And as you are collecting this paper, Cori, where are you going to commune? Where are you going to lead Arjhan to commune with Shar?
Someplace dark. Sorry, I'm trying to think of something that would be thematically interesting.
Have Gideon create a new cellar.
Basically, yeah.
You could always change your room.
Yeah. She's gonna change her room to a memory of communing with Shar in a dark place. So basically, she walks up to her room, kind of sits there for a second thinking, and then turns the doorknob and opens it, and there's just inky blackness beyond.
There's inky blackness. You can hear a creak at some point. And
oh, you know what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. This is the memory of the several days that she was trapped in the Fomorian fortress.
Gotcha. So as you enter into what looks like a Fomorian holding cell, Cori, as you cross the threshold, your summer form just seems to fade, almost like there is a dividing line as the quote-unquote dark moon, Cori, takes over once again, the moon form that is more cosmic in nature, as this is the form you are usually in when communicating with Shar. And Arjhan, you watch as this change takes place, and you follow Cori into this place, and you have a scant memory of this as well, although it seems like There's like a lizard brain befuddlement about you. Like you have memories of this place, but you were a much smaller creature at the time when you were scootling on by. So it definitely seems very strange that Cori would pick such a place. But as the door closes behind you, you can hear the hinges of the Fomorian prison cell close. And from this inky blackness, the two of you hear a voice that says, "Oh, it seems you brought a friend this time. Wonderful." And that is where we are going to call it for tonight's session. So I'd like to say thank you to everybody who decided to stop on by and join us for this wonderful session of Dungeons and Dragons. I always have a blast whenever I can have my friends on this channel. Look at all these excited and happy faces. It's a great time. Speaking of great times, hey RJ, where can I find you? What do you do?
Hey everybody, I'm RJ. You can catch me at RJustice282 on Twitter and Twitch, where I sometimes tweet about the nerd things in my life and stream with my friends. You can catch me here Mondays as Caelum, the Shadowkai Wizard. Today's Elegant Magic, well, this week's Elegant Magic's week, so Thursday over at GGK, where I play Jarvis Hawk, another magic man who touches the magic fire. He's also a stinky cheese man who kind of swatted his friends. Yeah. Also on Saturday, we're nearing the finale of Princes of the Apocalypse on GGK, which we switched over to a game system called Shotguns and Sorcery, which is a cipher system hack. I play Yorha Vainglory, a tiefling who has a fucking bazooka.
Okay.
It's great. I use a spell to push myself through the air like I was using an insect glaive.
Nice.
With a bazooka. Rocket jump. And Sunday mornings, catch me over at the Hype Goblins channel, where I play Rollin Grandbrook, sorcerer, cleric. His girlfriend is going to meet like the rest of the family, and the party's going to meet the family. It'll be fine. Wednesdays, open for adventure. Myself and Connor will be playing through our Legacy of the Lizuku. I play 13 trees in the Oasis, and he just got a pride mate back and running for his life. It's great. DanaeKeener.com.
I feel like I'm picturing the wrong thing when you describe that. Hi, I'm LBHackEmUp. You can find me at LBHackEmUp on the Twitters and the Twitches. On the Twitches, we just hit 300 followers, so we are doing a giveaway. The tweet is pinned in my Twitter, and you can enter to win by just commenting on that tweet and being a follower of our Twitch. So it's super cool. Get some cool stuff. You can find me next tomorrow on LBHackEmUp. I'll be streaming some Dead by Daylight in the afternoon. I'm going to be killing some people. And then in the evening, it is a Masks week. So I'm going to be playing Masks. I'm going to be playing Sabrina with Danae and Tyler on GGK. And then I won't be live again until Friday, where I will be streaming with Lauren I think we're going to play Labyrinthine again. It was so much fun. It was very spooky. We were going through mazes. It was great. And then I'll be on Slaying 101 on Sunday and on Playthings of the Gods Sunday evening. So check those out. And that's me, DanaeKeener.com.
Hoi! I'm Cyber. I stream on Cyberwolf 1201 on Twitch. I'm not going to be streaming this Saturday though, but I'll be coming back next week to play Turnip Boy Commits Tax Evasion. I want to do some one-offs and some indie games. That seemed cute. Check out all of my stuff. It's at cyberwolf1201.live. I have a YouTube, youtube.com/cyberwolf1201. Previously, it was where the archives of the Twitch streams went. They are no longer going to be there because I want to do other things with the YouTube. And so now I have another channel that's just for archives. So consider subscribing there because I'll be doing things that aren't going to clutter up your feed every week. Also, while you're on YouTube, check out Jabroni TV on YouTube because every Saturday we've been dropping a Pokemon tournament on Pokemon Showdown, and I've been editing them, and they've been very, very fun to make. I think we've got like a month and a half left of that series, but check them out. It's got a lot of wonderful people in it, so give them all the love. And check out Jabroni TV because they have a lot of cool streamers doing a lot of cool things. What else? Yeah, I'm here on Mondays and I'm on OVA on Wednesdays, like RJ said. So yeah, check that out and check out DanaeKeener.com.
Speaking of DanaeKeener.com, hi. I'm Danae Keener. You can find me at DanaeKeener.com. I do nerdy drawings mostly related to D&D and a lot of things on this channel. You can also find me on Twitter at Danae Keener or at Flailing Wings. I keep my streaming schedule on Twitter, so you can have a look there and see what I'm up to. Otherwise, go and check out DanaeKeener.com.
And if you've made it this far, you probably already know who I am, but if you don't, hey Acorns, what's up? It's me, your buddy, your pal, your friend, the Indoor Adventurer, the showrunner here at twitch.tv/IndoorAdventures. We do shows like this on Monday and Thursday at 5:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as well as on Sundays at 7 o'clock p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Although there won't be a game this Thursday at 7 or at 5:30 p.m. because I'm going to be on vacation for my birthday, so it's going to be a great time. I get like a 4-day weekend for the first time since 2019. I'm very excited in order to actually take that. It's going to be great. You can find us wherever audiocasts are made available for free. And of course, speaking of things that are being made available for free, we are going to be going into our after show called Nights in the Courtyard, where we answer questions not only from each other, but also from the community. So if you have any questions that you would like to ask myself or any of these other fine folk, feel free to join us in the Discord. The link is going to be available in Twitch chat to the side over yonder, or in the description of this video or audio cast. And of course, we'll do our best to respond to those questions in kind. But I would like to say once again, thank you to everybody who decided to stop by and join us for this incredible game of Dungeons and Dragons. And thank you to these players for putting up with my bullshit once again this week. And we'll see all of you guys next time. All right, everybody. Bye-bye!